Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. So today I'm going to be talking about who else? Brittany and Yazan. So what happened with Love's Young Dream this week? I'll tell you what, the wheels have come off. So we all knew that this storyline was sketchy to say the least. But even before the end of the season, Brittany's blown her cover and she's exposed the storyline for the horse crap it is. And guys, she's taken to Instagram Live to absolutely slate Yazan. Earrings out, hair tied back, it's game on. So this is 90 Day Fiancé the other way, Brittany and Yazan. So before we get into it, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who's subscribed to my channel. And if you haven't done so yet, what are you waiting for? Press the red button, press the bell notification, and don't miss any videos. And also please don't forget to press the like button. So in this video I'm going to do a very quick rundown of what happened this week. And then I'm going to give you the 5 reasons that I know that this storyline is an absolute scam. And whilst I don't necessarily blame TLC for this, there are some things they should have picked up on immediately and looked into in a little bit more detail, and they would have known exactly what you guys all knew and what the Ebird knew. Something ain't right in the water. So as we remember from last week, Yazan gives us a torrid tale of how his dad gave him an ultimatum. He said either it's your family or it's Britney. And Yazan heroically chose Britney, notwithstanding the fact he hadn't spoken to her for 3 weeks. Yazan's dad promptly threw him out of the house. He had to sleep on the street, and then finally he got himself an apartment. His dad also fired him from the family business, a fish shop. And guys, the truth be told, I kind of think his dad did him a favour there. I don't think working behind the counter at a fish shop is exactly the kind of job that you take someone to an industrial tribunal over. But maybe that's just me. So the first time we see Brittany this week, she's on the phone to Yazan and she tells him he simply must buy her a ticket back to Jordan. So you know he's homeless. As far as you know at the moment, he's jobless. And you wanted to go back to the US just to see your new niece after just a few weeks in Jordan. But yet he must purchase the ticket. Interesting. And she asks him what he's doing now, and he says he's working really hard and he's moved out from his parents' house. He said now he's a barber and a taxi driver. And he explains to Brittany that he needs to save money for Brittany to come back because he says he's not rich. Yazan, we know. Brittany wants you to make it rain, Yazan, but you're only up to making it drizzle, at most. But nevertheless, Brittany tells him, I'm really pleased that you've changed and that you're standing on your own 2 feet. Brittany has just explained to you he's been thrown out of his home and sacked from his job, all because of his relationship with you. And you say you're proud of him. Are you actually listening, Brittany? Are you actually listening to him? And Brittany continues, I want you to be the man I know you can be. The man she knows you can be. Right. The little bitch that loses his crap when you hug somebody at the airport. The person who sits in front of his parents and can't actually explain to them that we're not going to get married immediately because we don't know each other. Yazan is a man in the same way a turnip is a martial art. Not at all. And he said to her, I've changed because I want to see you and because I love you. Yazan, how have you changed? You've merely been sacked and thrown out. And Brittany tells producers she's finally proud of him because he's his own man. And then he tells her he works 14 hours a day. And he reminds her once more that he's not a millionaire and she needs to be patient. And then Brittany reverts to type and she says, I'm not asking him for a lot, just a roof over my head and just for him to pay all our bills. And she said, I'm not asking him for a private jet or a yacht or shopping sprees, even though I'm used to having them. He should just be grateful I'm not asking for that and give me what I want. Brittany must absolutely live in La La Land if she thinks that we believe all of that. But I'll laugh heartily at this in my analysis at the end of the video. Then Yazan goes on to say he's losing everything and she's losing nothing. And you know, we talked about this last week. It's quite laughable. If this relationship is for real, they're both losing certain things, but they're both gaining each other. And if they really loved each other, both of them would be really cognizant about that. And remember Yazan's friend Mohammed from last week, and he said she's not losing anything. And obviously Yazan's drinking the Kool-Aid because he now believes it as well. And Brittany points out, I'm losing my home, my family, my friends, my whole life. But it was very interesting, she didn't mention one thing that she's losing, and that's her career. Guys, I wonder why that is. Oh dear. But then, as it so often does with Yazan, things take a really sticky turn. He looked over at Brittany and he said, you cannot wear this t-shirt. You must like to show your boobs off to everybody. Yes, she does. And he said, Brittany, you know you've got to change. And she said, change what? Why? What must I change? And he said, oh, you must know this. and he threw another little hissy fit and slammed the phone down. And then Britney said, "I've got no idea what he's talking about." Britney, you know good and well what he's talking about. He finds you far too boobalicious. And quite frankly, he's sick of it. And so next time we catch up with Britney, she's on the beach with one of her friends. And she tells us we've known each other our whole lives. We're almost like sisters. Oh, maybe this is the almost sister who she met Yazan through. I wonder, inquiring minds would like to know. And then she tells her friends, guess what? I'm divorced, yay! And apparently her paperwork came through just a few days ago. And she's officially a single woman. And she said she's very, very relieved. And as she sits on the beach with her friend, she moans on and on about how irritated she is by Yazan, how he's a baby, how he's not yet mature, how his parents control him. And it's so unfair. Britney wants to be the only one that controls Yazan. And she says Yazan's parents want them to marry right away. And she must convert to Islam right away. And she doesn't want to do that. She wants to be her true self. But what she's not saying is if she ever wants to convert, or if she ever thinks that life in Jordan can be for her and they can be compatible. I think not. And she finishes up by saying, before I come back, he has to show that he's a grown adult and that he's mature and that he's not going to fall for the pressure that his family gives him. Oh, Britney, it's not just as simple as that. I think you'll find it's the pressure society gives him as well. And in fact, the law. You are not allowed to walk around with your boobs out in Jordan. It's not socially acceptable. The truth be told, the way you dress is barely socially acceptable in America. It definitely isn't in Jordan, and we all know that. So if that is where you're planning to live, that is why you must do the changing. Yazan's already spoken to his uncle, who's agreed to speak with Yazan's parents and get them to agree to elongate the marriage process. So he's put those plans into action. But what he doesn't like is you showing yourself off. You can put it down if you want, Britney, to him doing what his parents say, but I think there was only him and you on the phone at that point, and he didn't like the fact that he thought that you were too overexposed. I think it's an open and shut case of you two not being compatible. I think men and women should be able to wear whatever they want. However, it is incumbent upon you to find a partner who also is of the same mind. There's no point finding somebody who isn't happy with that and then moaning and complaining about it ad infinitum. It makes very little sense. And then Britney tells her friend that he said he's going to give her an ultimatum, that she has to change when she gets back to Jordan, and she said she's going back to Jordan and she's going to give his ass an ultimatum. Hopefully you've got a round ticket, Britney, so I don't see that going well for you. And that's everything for this week. So what do I make from all this? It's very clear to me that Britney spent very little time this season actually in Jordan. As I said in an earlier video, which I'll link down below, the video is called Britney's Divorce Lies, that she applied for her divorce in September and she got it in about February. So when this is being filmed on the beach, it's February and it's just before the travel ban. So she spent 5 to 6 months back in the US and not with Yazan. And there couldn't be a clearer indication, as far as I'm concerned, that she has no real plan to be with Yazan. And when I got to thinking this, I decided, Ebird, have a little look on her Insta. See what she's up to, see if you can get a measure of her. And my, this is what I found.
No, look, I'm gonna be real with y'all. That boy never had a job. He didn't get beat up and thrown out his house because of what he's telling y'all happened. It has some shit because he's disrespectful to his parents, and that's why that happened. It had nothing to do with me. He's not only disrespectful to me, he's disrespectful to others, and ain't nobody who's paying you to talk shit to them in their house and be crazy and then also do the work that they gave you a job because you won't do your other job for real. Like, you got fired because you want to act like you're the manager and you're not the manager, you just got hired there. So they was nice enough to give you a job, but you don't want to do your work at the job that they gave you, so therefore you got fired. But now you want to put it on me because it makes you look better, makes you feel better about yourself. So yeah, eat it up if y'all want to. I'm not accepting that because I already know the real situation, so I'm not putting that on me. If I was a horrible bitch, I would say I'm a horrible bitch, but I'm not.
So in essence, she's saying he was lying about him being thrown out of his house because of Britney. He was really thrown out because he was disrespectful to his parents. She also says he got fired from his job because he wanted to act like he was the manager. But he wasn't, he was basically just working there. And Britney accuses Yazan of saying all this to make Britney look bad and to make himself look like the martyr. So whilst this alone isn't exactly proof that the storyline is all made up, it does tell us things are a little bit sketchy. And when you look at all the evidence that we have about this storyline, personally, I'm leaning towards believing it. The second thing we have is that the person that was supposed to be Yazan's mum, that had the big argument with Britney, apparently wasn't Yazan's mum at all, and they actually brought an actress in for that part. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but several blogs have made this accusation. And then there's the question of Yazan resting his wary head on the pavement for a couple of nights in Jordan. So as we saw last week, Yazan was crying to his friend Mohammed, and he said he was thrown out. And then he stayed at his uncle's house for 1 day, and then he slept on the street for 2 days. Now, I had a look to see what the temperatures were like in Jordan at night time at that time of year, which would have been about October, and they were about 15 or 16 degrees Celsius. So I guess it's possible he could have slept outside, but it's quite unlikely, I think. I find it hard to believe that he hadn't phoned his friend Mohammed to see if he could stay there. It's unlikely his uncle would have thrown him out onto the street and not let him stay for another couple of days. And also, if we think back, when Britney got to Jordan, she had quite a nice apartment to stay in. What happened to that apartment? Why couldn't he stay there? I just find that part of this narrative very, very unlikely. And then finally, with this relationship, who did what? Britney told us explicitly that she met Yazan and that she spoke to him for a month, and then he booked her tickets to Jordan and she went over to see him. So this is exactly what she said.
After about 4 weeks, Yazan actually sent me money to get a plane ticket to come see him. After about 4 weeks, Yazan actually sent me money to get a plane ticket to come see him.
But today she told her friend on the beach, I booked all the tickets every time I've been on, I've paid for all the tickets, and I paid for the apartments. He was supposed to pay, but he didn't. I had to do it so that he could save his money. So it makes me think that they were lying together. Why did she even mention who paid for the tickets? It's because it fits in with Britney's whole idea that she goes out with these rich guys and that she's used to the high life. But now it's all come on top, the real story's coming out, and Britney paid for her own way in Jordan. And whilst I'm not saying I don't think Britney ever dated rich guys, I think she probably did, let's survey the facts. Her ex-husband, whom she was with for 4 years, was absolutely broke, and that's in her own words. And Yazan doesn't have any money. And so it's my contention that this whole "these rich guys buy me ices" diatribe is Britney's attempt at keeping up with the Joneses and trying to make her life look lit on Instagram. And I definitely think that Britney was just trying to pretend that Yazan could make it rain. In reality, he just wanted Britney to pray. So right from the start, Britney's been lying to us. And as we know, Britney's already lied about her divorce, but by far the biggest bombshell is that the main story from this whole season is that Britney hasn't told Yazan about the divorce and nobody knows. But Britney's also said on Instagram Live that Yazan actually knew all along that she was married and that they made this storyline up specifically for the cameras. And guys, at this point, the only thing that Ebird knows for sure is that Britney's inept at putting on eyelashes. I really do not think this is any sort of a relationship. Even when they talk on the phone or when they're talking in person, you can tell that Yazan has to ransack the outer reaches of his mind for any micro scrap of small talk. They never seem to have any fun. They just argue. And I'm not saying that these guys are treating this relationship as a business agreement, but they've only got a couple more regulatory requirements to attain their ISO 9000 status. They are a pair of bullshitters. I wasn't sure previously what to make of Yazan, and in some ways I felt a bit sorry for him. But let's face fact, he saw the full contents of Britney's Instagram, he knew the life she led, and he knew very well it would be wholly incompatible with the life that she would have to lead if she were to move to Jordan, and this is what proves to me that he never anticipated her really moving to Jordan. So guys, tell me what you think of these revelations. Do you think TLC should have picked up on things? I actually for once don't think it was TLC's fault, because I think both of these guys were in this together and they both pretended, yeah, we're going to get together, Britney's going to come and live in Jordan and we're going to see if we can make it work. But I think from both of them there was never any real intention to get married, and it was just a good old-fashioned clout chase. So let me know in the comments down below, do you think there's any truth to this, or do you think the whole thing was just for Insta likes? So guys, that's about it. Before I go, a quick reminder, please press that red button and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with more reviews and analysis of these guys very soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.